I spent the last month playing newly released cozy games. Some disappointed me and some completely surprised me in the best way. So today I'm giving you my honest thoughts after actually spending time with each one of them. I also played a handful of demos, so if you want first impressions, that video will be linked here as well. So let's start with the game that I really wanted to love, and while it absolutely nails the cozy vibe, it didn't quite hit like I was expecting it to. So Tailside Cozy Cafe Sim, it's currently in early access on PC for $11. This is a cozy little cafe simulator. You play as a barista serving adorable animal customers. We're talking panda girls, bunny bakers, and the art style is honestly one of the biggest highlights. It's cute without feeling overly childish, and the whole world just feels inviting. The core loop is all about making coffee. You're grinding coffee beans, brewing espresso, heating milk, and following recipes from your little coffee journal. Things like lattes, macchiatos, matcha drinks. There's even latte art where you draw cats, hearts, or little swirls on top. Pro tip, going slow definitely works way better than trying to rush with these designs. You also have to sort beans occasionally to make sure you're keeping the good ones for quality. As you earn coins from customers, you can decorate your cafe using this satisfying snap grid build mode. You can buy furniture and plants from the shop or from Mabel, the local carpenter, and really make the space your own. The customization is definitely a strong point here. I love being able to place little cute greenery everywhere and just slowly build out the vibe of my cafe. It was really fun just seeing it all come together. There's also a nice sense of progression. The skill tree feels rewarding, especially when you unlock upgrades that automate some of the more tedious steps or speeding up your brewing times. And there are little side activities too, like collecting plushies through this little gacha style system, which honestly was just so adorable. Now, it is not a perfect game because the gameplay loop is pretty straightforward. It can start to feel a bit repetitive after a while. When the orders start coming in quickly, it can also shift from relaxing to slightly stressful. And the customers, they are messy. They just leave their cups everywhere. You have to manually go and clean them up, which can get a little bit tedious at times. Some of the mechanics are also a bit click heavy. The matcha whisking in particular felt way too many clicks until I unlocked the upgrades. And occasionally things like latte art felt a little bit tricky, almost like the inputs weren't fully registering the way that I needed them to. So overall, Tailside really shines in its aesthetic, customization, and cozy atmosphere. If you're someone who loves low stress management games and just want to vibe in a cute cafe world, this is absolutely going to be a hit for you. For me, it did get a little bit too repetitive over time, so personally, I would say grab it on a sale or maybe wait and see how it evolves in the full release. So while Tailside had me wanting a little bit less repetition, the next game completely won me over in a different way. If you love tiny, adorable worlds that you can slowly build and obsess over, let me introduce you to Tiny Isle. And this one is just super cute. The animation style immediately grabbed me here. Everything is soft, colorful, and just full of personality. I genuinely loved the little residents running around. They were just tiny little guys, and I got weirdly attached to them very quickly. This is absolutely something that I would just boot up to relax. It has that sweet, comforting energy to it. Now, gameplay-wise, you're expanding your island and slowly building out this tiny ecosystem. You earn these things called legacy cubes through achievements, and you literally drag them into the water to expand your island, which is such a satisfying mechanic. The core loop revolves around turning fish and plants into crystal energy to fill up this altar. Once it's full, you long press it to get crystal keys, which you use in the unlock tree to access new crops, upgrades, and different systems. There's a surprisingly deep skill tree, which I wasn't fully expecting. You can unlock crops, plant them by clicking and dragging, and I eventually learned that you can hold shift to select multiple plants at once, which completely saved me so much time when I wanted to redo my layout. Now, fishing is also a huge part of it. You can catch fish, gift them to the residents, or store them in your pond. Some of them are even weather fish that you can use in rituals to change the weather, which is a fun little detail. And I have to say, I was obsessed with collecting the new residents, Poco, Sugar, Penguinstein. Once they started helping out and catching fish for me, I was totally locked in. Just watching them contribute to the island really made everything just feel more alive. The controls here are really smooth too. You can scroll to zoom, drag the right mouse button to move around. It all feels very easy to navigate. Overall, the mechanics are super simple but really satisfying, especially the fishing. Once I got the hang of it, there's something about it that just feels really good. Now, this is not without its flaws. At times, I did feel a little bit overwhelmed. There were many little systems and upgrades and things to manage that can all feel like a lot all at once. Some mechanics weren't immediately clear either, like the magical tree. I definitely had moments where I was just sitting there trying to figure out what I was supposed to be doing. I also didn't love that some crops require individual clicks to collect compared to how smooth other parts of the game feel. That mechanic felt a little bit tedious. And as my island grew, it started to feel kind of packed and really messy. I actually caught myself wanting to restart just to organize things better. For the price, especially at $10, this feels like such a solid little game. It's cute, it's satisfying, and if you like slowly expanding and optimizing tiny world while collecting these adorable residents, this one is absolutely worth checking out. So Tiny Isle is that small, adorable sandbox that you slowly build out. The next game goes way bigger. It's still cozy, still cute, but it adds a lot of layers in depth. Next up is Halcyon Days at Taoyuan. This one genuinely surprised me. At first, it looks like your typical cozy farming sim, but it has a different twist. The pixel art here is absolutely beautiful. I mean, actually stunning. There's so much little details. The characters kind of remind me of the Habbo Hotel characters, but like in a way better, more polished way. I know, what a blast from the past. The world itself feels really inviting too. There's a full day and night cycle, and the little details like hearing the owls at night just make it feel really immersive. It's subtle but adds so much to the atmosphere. Now, one of the first things that stood out to me was the character customization. It's super inclusive. There are some non-binary options, and you can even customize the eyebrows, even the eyeball types, which I did not expect, but I really appreciated. It just feels really thoughtful. Now, mechanically, this game goes way deeper than I anticipated. Yes, there's farming. You're clearing debris, tilling soil with a hoe, fertilizing if you want to, watering daily. Some crops needed specific tools like harvesting wheat with a sickle, and then you can process things in a mill. It's so familiar but really detailed. The fishing is honestly one of the best fishing mini games I've played in a cozy game, and if you use bait, the fish bite faster. It doesn't feel frustrating, it just feels really smooth. But then it adds stuff like animal taming, and this is where it gets really interesting. The aggressive beasts can be tamed once their health drops below 10%, and the non-aggressive ones, you have to go into it tiptoe mode and approach them carefully. Then you feed them their favorite foods before their patience runs out. It's way more involved than just pressing a button to get the animal. And there is also combat and mining. You get to explore these caves, mine ore with a pickaxe, and defend yourself with a sword. You use the light foot to dodge attacks. It's not hardcore combat, but it does add a layer of tension that just keeps things interesting. Now, the village itself uses a barter system instead of your traditional currency, which I thought was such a cool world building choice. It makes everything feel more grounded and really community based instead of just gold maxing. There are some really solid quality of life features too, where you can track quests and events easily. Now, it is not perfect. The tutorial can be a lot. There are moments where it's just info dump mechanics on you, and the text is really tiny. And when you're learning farming, taming, mining, crafting, and all the social systems at once, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. Now, the navigation took me a little bit to get used to. Traversing the land felt a little bit complicated, and I definitely got stuck trying to find certain areas. And the blueprint crafting minigame, this one where you match shapes to learn different recipes, it was surprisingly hard, like harder than it actually needed to be. So overall, Halcyon Days at Taoyuan is definitely a buy for me, especially if you love farming sims that have a deep mechanic. It's not a brain off kind of cozy game. This is for people who just want more than just planting crops and calling it a day kind of game. So if Halcyon Days is the farming sim that adds layers, the next one completely throws the rulebook out the window. This game is weird and in the best way. Now, next up is Hermit and Pig. This one genuinely caught me off guard. It is a quirky, weird, story-rich turn-based RPG where you play as a socially anxious hermit living in the woods with your very loyal pig. You spend your time foraging mushrooms, avoiding people, and just kind of existing until things spiral into a corporate conspiracy involving a factory in a nearby town. Yes, this is the vibe. This game feels cute and deranged at the same time. It's funny, a little unhinged, but still weirdly heartfelt. Gameplay-wise, you're wandering through the forest, foraging for items like collecting mushrooms for your tasks or hunting down truffles for side quests. And your pig actually helps you by alerting you to hidden truffles. Then there is turn-based combat. You fight wild creatures and deal with environmental hazards. You've got your stand kicks and stomps, but there's also the slam technique that it recharges as you land effective hits. And when you perfectly block an attack, it feels so satisfying. But the mechanic that really makes this game stand out is definitely the social anxiety system. The social interactions are treated like battles, so if you say something cringe, you take physical damage. And I really thought that this was such a clever and cute twist on portraying the hermit's personality. It makes conversations feel tense, but in a way that's funny and also very on brand for the character. Now, the progression in this game feels very straightforward. You level up by winning battles and completing tasks, and you can equip trinkets that boost stats like health and your defense. The tutorial is pretty seamlessly built into the early gameplay, and I was still learning new mechanics like the slam technique and the trinket usage well into playing the game. Visually, it is gorgeous. Hermit and Pig are both expressive, and the dialogue is genuinely funny, like weirdly funny, deranged funny. As for performance goes, the game uses the controller-friendly input. It translates really well onto something like my Steam Deck. My only hesitation would be some of the faster minigame moments might feel slightly trickier on handheld, but nothing game-breaking. Overall, this is definitely a buy. So if you like weird, offbeat RPGs with humor and personality, this one is definitely going to be a hit. It's low stress in terms of combat, but can also be high stress if you want to. This is for the cozy gamers who secretly love a little bit of chaos. Now, so if Hermit and Pig was the chaotic woodland energy, the next one takes us directly into detective mode. Now, next up is Clue, Murder by Death, and this one had me really excited at first. It is a story-rich detective mystery set in the 1930s England. You play as a detective after Lord Anderson is found dead. It's the classic whodunit setup, big estate, suspicious residents, and secrets everywhere. Right at the start, you get to choose 2 assistants from a cast of characters, like an archaeologist or a mysterious socialite, which I thought was a really cool touch. It immediately makes you feel like you're building your own investigation team. The game throws you into the mystery pretty quickly. You get your phone call, pick your assistants, and within minutes you're already walking around the manor inspecting things. The tutorial is super short and to the point, which I appreciated. Now, gameplay wise, you're exploring this massive multi-floor estate, collecting items and inspecting basically everything you come across. It definitely leans into that dramatic mystery kind of vibe. You also interview residents to track their movements and uncover their secrets. And the theories get pretty wild. It's messy in the best detective way, but here is the twist. You only have 120 minutes to solve the case before the Scotland Yard arrives and takes over. So it's meant to be this focused, contained mystery that you can finish in one sitting. Now, here's where I struggled. The manor is massive, and I mean like really huge. There are so many rooms, and I found the map a little bit confusing. There's no strong progression tracking system, so no way to mark rooms you cleared. And after a little while, I started feeling a little flustered instead of intrigued into the mystery. The progression felt slow, and I kept second guessing whether I was actually making progress or just wandering around in circles. Now, on top of that, I did have some issues with the display settings. There wasn't a proper full screen or borderless option, and that said, I loved the atmosphere, and I've been wanting a detective game in this exact style for a while, and the interactivity is really strong here. Being able to inspect almost everything really makes it feel immersive. Now, for me, this one definitely lands in the maybe on a sale. If you're a big mystery fan or you just love the original Clue board game kind of vibe, you'll probably enjoy it. But if you get easily overwhelmed by large maps or just vague navigation, this one might test your patience a little bit like it did mine. So after wandering around in circles inside of a manor, I decided that climbing a mountain might actually be more my speed. And this one stressed me out in the best way. Next up is Cairn, and this game is intense. It is a realistic survival climbing simulator from the creators Fury and Haven, and you play as Ava, a climber trying to become the first human to summit Mount Kami. And when I say high stakes, I mean it. From the second you start climbing, there is this constant anxiety in the back of your brain that you could fall at any moment. Every movement here matters. The climbing mechanics are super detailed. You're not just pressing climb, you're controlling individual limbs, carefully placing hands and feet on rock holds. You have to think about balance, movement, weight distribution, and the resource management. You also have limited pittons, which are basically climbing pegs you hammer into the wall to secure your route and create rest points. So you're constantly deciding, do I use one now for safety or risk it and save it for later? It makes every move feel more deliberate. Between climbs, the survival side kicks in. You manage your backpack, forage for raspberries, catch fish with your bare hands, and cook food to restore energy and health. It's not just about reaching the top, it's about making sure you survive long enough to try. You can even scope out walls from a distance before committing to a route, which I really liked. It adds that planning layer instead of just reacting mid-climb. There are also difficulty modes: Explorer if you want just the story, Alpinist if you want a balanced experience, and Free Solo, which is permadeath. No thank you, respectfully. The tutorial is actually really well integrated. There's a practice arena where you learn how to move limbs, place pittons, and cancel actions. And within like 15 to 20 minutes, you're actually already attempting your first real ascent. Visually, this game is stunning. It's like genuinely beautiful. The lighting, the environment, the scale, it all feels massive and really cinematic. The physics are surprisingly really flexible too. Sometimes Ava's legs bend in a way that are kind of hilarious, but it adds personality to something that could have felt really rigid. The sound design is also really well done here. The music is subtle and lovely, but the environmental sounds like rock scraping, wind shifting just make everything feel really immersive. This is definitely not a brain off cozy game. It really demands your focus, but that high stakes tension actually felt refreshing after a month of some slower paced games. Now, in terms of performance, the game recommends using the controller for a smoother experience, which makes me think it would translate really well to the Steam Deck. I played on mouse and keyboard on the PC, but I would be curious to try this one out on handheld. Overall, this one is absolutely a buy. If you love atmospheric survival kind of games that are high pressure decision making and have beautiful environments, this one is definitely going to hook you. It's challenging, but in a very intentional way. This one genuinely surprised me with how engaging it was. So now, after almost falling off of a mountain for a few hours, I needed something a bit calmer. Now, next up is Astrobotanica, and this one has a really cool concept to it. It is a science-driven, cozy survival farming game set on a prehistoric Earth. You play as Zell, an alien botanist who crash-landed 3,000 years in the past. And here's the twist: you breathe CO2. Oxygen is toxic to you. So instead of surviving like a human, you have to engineer your environment to survive. That concept alone was so cool. It is a full reverse survival situation here. The gameplay revolves around you scanning and researching. So you use this handheld scanner to log plants and animals, which gives you primal points that unlock new abilities in building plants. The survival loop is very botanical focused. You manage your CO2 levels by eating green long berries or staying close to your crashed ship. You plant, water, and even crossbreed alien and Earth planets to create sustainable gardens that keep you alive. There's also tonic brewing, which is basically botanical alchemy. You experiment plants to brew tonics that heal or even help the local primal humans you encounter. The exploration is pretty light and chill. You clear the fog from the map with environmental puzzles like orbs and slowly unlock new biomes like swamps and caves. There's no constant combat pressure, no aggressive survival panic. It just really wants you to slow down and just vibe with the prehistoric Earth. Now here is where I struggled with it. The tutorial was honestly kind of weak. It front loads a lot of information, the inventory space is small, and the world can feel a little bit empty at times, and some of the systems just don't fully explain themselves. On the Steam Deck, it is playable, but you need to tweak the controls. The controller support exists, but they feel really clunky, and just performance-wise, there are some stutters in some areas. Now, the developers do seem active and really responsive, which is such a good sign, but right now it still feels a little bit early. I love the concept, alien botanist who hates oxygen, amazing. The chill pace is also really great, but for now, this one is a pass for me, at least until it gets a few more early access updates and some of the systems feel more polished. Now, since that game did not fully land for me, I did end the month with a game that absolutely ate up all of my free time, and I think you guys know where this one is going. The last first game that I played this month was Starsand Island, and I didn't stream this one, which might explain why I disappeared for a few hours at a time, but I was straight up locked into this game. Overall, I really liked it. I was playing it for hours on end. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This game is extremely grindy, but in a way that kept me engaged instead of getting burnt out. The cool thing about Starsand Island is that it gives you multiple life paths, so you can focus on farming, animals, crafting, mining, or combat. And I may or may not have picked up multiple paths at once, which did get a little bit overwhelming. But on the upside of that, there was always something for me to do. So if I was waiting for crops to grow, I could go craft, or if my animals were producing items, I could just head into the forest and mine. Like if I was bored of that, I could just go fight something. It was just constantly gives you productive options, so the downtime never really felt wasted. Now for an early access game, it actually feels pretty polished. I was pleasantly surprised by that. Now, I have heard some friends say that the relationships feel a little dull, and I definitely can see that, but personally, I don't really focus on relationships in games unless they're like central to the gameplay, so it didn't really bother me. Now, the standout mechanic for me though is you can ride around on vehicles, skateboards, rollerblades, and as a biker in real life, being able to hop onto a motorcycle in the game, I felt so seen. I was genuinely so excited. It added this little bit of freedom and speed to the world. It just felt bigger and more dynamic. And there is also combat, which I appreciated. It adds a layer of challenge that helps keep the grind from feeling too repetitive. Sometimes I would get frustrated mid-fight, but when you finally beat an enemy, all that feeling is so rewarding. So overall, Starsand Island is a buy for me. It's grindy, like really grindy, but if you're the kind of player who loves always having something to work towards, it's incredibly satisfying. The multiple life paths keep it from feeling stagnant, the combat adds just enough challenge, and being able to ride around on a motorcycle sealed the deal for me. Now, it is early access, so I'm curious how this game is going to hold up long term, but right now I've already sunk so many hours into it and I'm genuinely enjoying my time. If you like cozy games that have some depth and don't mind a little bit of grind, this one is definitely worth jumping into. And now that wraps up my month of newly released cozy games. Some of these surprised me in the best way, some reminded me that pretty doesn't always mean polished, and a few completely took over my time. Now, if I had to replay one of them right now, it would probably be a toss-up between Starsand Island or Cairn for completely different reasons. Now, let me know in the comments which of these you'll be picking up, or if there's a game that you would like for me to check out next month. And if you want even more first impressions, don't forget to check out my Steam's Next Best Demos video so you can find some new games to wishlist. This video ended up helping you figure out which of these games are worth your time and money. Make sure to like and subscribe for more honest cozy game reviews. And until next time, so happy gaming.